In a world where companies keep trying to convince us that this remake is better than the original, I was somewhat prepared for the remake of Silent Hill 2 to look really awful. And the fact that for a while everyone on the internet was talking badly about the game and how awful it was going to be made me sweat a little bit, not gonna lie. But now that it's been released, humanity has agreed on one thing for the first time in ages. The Silent Hill 2 remake is great. Do I think it's worth your money? The eggs of your chickens? Yes, I definitely think it's worth your money. So let's talk a little bit about why. One of the first things I noticed about the remake is how immersive it feels. From how beautiful everything looks to how rich the sound design is. When you walk around, you hear everything around you. It doesn't feel like you're walking in some random empty scenario. It feels full in a way that's hard to explain. You hear the creaking sound of the wood, the metallic sounds of the huge structures, even the chains of the signs. The sound design is really well done, and that in a horror game is fantastic because sound is one of the easiest ways to get you deep into the story. And also, really paranoid. Every little sound feels like someone is hiding from you, so it adds to the suspense. The game preserves all the little things that make you think about Silent Hill 2, but made them better. And that's something really amazing coming from someone who sometimes just prefers the original because, well, the charm and nostalgia. This is not a game where they just drew some 4K textures to the old models and said, "It's done." They fully rebuilt every aspect of the original game, from the town to the graphics to the animations and sound design. And that made the town feel so alive. It kind of feels bigger and more real in a sense. And the fog is just beautiful. I love how it still covers what's ahead of you, but at the same time, it's so foggy and ethereal. Also, they use it sometimes to add tension and direct you to where you have to go, like when you're entering the hotel for the first time, and that's really cool. The Silent Hill soundtrack is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, and the remake did a really good job of adding some little things while remaining faithful to the original soundtrack. One thing I did notice is that the music from the soundtrack integrates so much better with the ambient sound effects. The transitions between music and environmental noises feel so much smoother and less noticeable compared to the original. And combined with the fact that every little sound, like the echo in empty spaces, the wind, James' footsteps, or even his breathing feels so clear and three-dimensional, it really creates an immersive experience. It's just insane how they managed to do so much with just sounds. For example, when you get closer to the massive walls that close off the streets, it's kind of scary. It sounds so massive and unsettling, almost like an organic ancient living entity that it's saying, "You're not going anywhere." I really love how everything sounds. The cutscenes in this game feel so much more cinematic, and not in a boring way that makes you want to skip them, but in a very beautiful way. Every cutscene feels like they really gave some thought to the composition of the scenes. And what makes everything better is that the facial animation in this game is amazing. You know how sometimes, even though the models of a character look good, there's something weirdly wrong with them? Like the feeling that if a fly landed on one of their eyes, they wouldn't blink? In this game, the characters look really human. Well, maybe not Eddie, but the rest of the characters show really believable emotions while they talk or think. And that gives all the dialogues a level of intimacy and immersion that I really enjoyed. The new facial animations really add something that the original kinda lacked. And for a game where complex emotions like suffering, sadness, and guilt are so prevalent, that's really important. And even though I really liked how the characters in the original looked, you cannot deny that they look a little bit stiff, a little bit like characters from Lazy Town. And just a quick mention to the character designs. It took me some time to get used to Maria's new design. I kind of preferred her original design, the one that looked a little bit like Cameron Diaz and was almost James' height. It felt a little less fragile than the new design somehow. Like, she's supposed to be really sensual, strong, and captivating. But my first thought was that she looks a little bit like an old lady who smokes a lot and has the same shoulders as my dog. But after a while, I got used to the new design and came to appreciate the new look. James' design, on the other hand, I wouldn't change anything about it. The old design kind of remind me of Pyrocynical, so the new design looks so much better in my opinion. I think the devs had a hard task adapting the characters to more realistic graphics. It's always a bit weird to go from here to here, for example. So I think they did a great job with how the characters look. Anyway, the facial animations are insane. You can even see how James' lips tremble when he's thinking about what he's about to say. And I don't even remember a game where the eyes look this good. Like, it feels a little bit hypnotizing to stare at the characters while they talk, especially James and Maria, because the models look so good. I mean, look at these hands. And they improved the dialogues as well. I will always love how weird the dialogues in the original were, like as if the characters were constantly trying to remember what they were trying to say. Also, the voice actors recorded their lines separately, so it added to that feeling of disconnection between them that made the whole game feel more surreal. But I really loved how they did the dialogues in the remake. The voice actors did a really good job with the dialogues. Everyone sounded really natural and like full and high quality. You can really feel from which direction someone is talking to you, which is cool. And the characters still act as if they're not fully present in some scenes, so it doesn't lose that unsettling feeling that the original had. The moment I walked in front of this hallway, I knew this game was going to be really scary. And thanks to the fact that the game is more immersive than ever, it also made it scary as hell. My favorite parts were when the game showed you something disturbing and slowed down the whole atmosphere, like this part with this creepy door. It felt more scary than just getting scared, if that makes sense. And the fact that you can only see what's in front of you, and how well they play with the shadows in this game, helped in keeping me scared during the entire game. The monsters also looked really cool. Not gonna show much about the monsters because I think it's cool to see them on a first playthrough, but yeah, the designs looks really cool, except maybe for the addition of a tongue to the first enemy. Like, I know James is supposed to be really repressed in that aspect of his life, but it's just funny. Like, I'm trying to get scared, but then the monster turn around and it's like, One thing I like about this game is how responsive the menu is. I really hate unintuitive menus that feel like playing a game at 14 FPS. Here, everything works nice overall. Also, the loading screens are hidden really well, and I love that. It's so beautiful to enter a building and not have a 1-minute loading screen like in The Sims. It adds to the immersion because there's barely any interruption in the gameplay besides the cutscenes, and even then, they flow really well, so the whole gameplay feels really nice. And well, the game is full of little details, like how Angela's nails are all beaten, how James' hand has this black tar for a while after
touching the creepy door,
and a lot of other stuff that I won't mention because it spoils the game. Anyway, I really love Silent Hill 2 Remake. It may even be one of my favorite remakes of all time. Silent Hill 2 was already an amazing game, and being able to experience the story in a way that felt so immersive felt almost like playing the original game for the first time. If I'm being honest, I had like zero expectation for this game because I was so used to bad remakes that I thought this was going to be the same. But I was wrong. Blover team did an amazing job with this game. So hopefully we get remakes that are really worth their price and not a remake where you have to really squint your eyes to notice how the grass has better shadows or something like that. It does have a few small things that could have been improved, but overall it's a fantastic game. And it's just nice to read reactions on Reddit from people who are experiencing this amazing story for the first time, like this guy. So if you're still watching the video and haven't played this game yet, I really think it's worth your money. Try it. Did you enjoy the remake if you already played it? I also want to thank for the support on my last video. We made it to 1000 subs, which is really unbelievable. I want to thank everyone who took the time to leave a comment as well. I always read your comments, so if you want to ask something or say anything, I try to reply whenever I can. Remember, you can leave a like if you want, and if you like my content, remember you can also subscribe so you can be a part of the little army of birds. Hope you have a great week and see you soon. Bye bye.